Arin had always been the kind of person who dreamt more than he acted. His notebooks were filled with goals, pages of neat handwriting, every line describing something he wanted to achieve. Learn the guitar, get fit, improve his grades, wake up early, start a small online business. Every dream was real and honest, but none of them lasted more than a week. His enthusiasm burned hot for a moment and vanished long before results had time to appear. He often wondered, why can't I stay consistent like others? Why do I quit so easily? And so slowly, Arin began to describe himself as someone with no discipline. The turning point came one rainy afternoon. Arin was scrolling through social media when he saw a post from his childhood friend Zain. The picture showed Zain standing in front of a huge banner that read, National Innovation Award, First Prize. Arin stared at the photo for a long time. They had grown up in the same neighborhood, gone to the same school, played the same games, and dreamed the same dreams. Yet there Zain was, successful, confident, recognized, and Arin still stuck in the same cycle of starting and quitting. A small but sharp thought stirred inside him. It's not that he is smarter, he is more disciplined. For the first time, Arin truly felt the weight of that word. Self-disciplined. Not talent, not luck, not intelligence. Discipline. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept imagining Zain's smile and the award in his hands. It wasn't jealousy, it was a wake-up call. He wanted to achieve something too. He wanted to feel proud, just once, of something he had built with his own consistency. So Arin sat up in bed, grabbed his notebook, and wrote a single sentence. For the next 90 days, I will build self-discipline. He didn't write goals this time. He didn't write plans, just that one line. Day 1, the first domino. Arin decided to start simple. Every morning he would wake up at 6 a.m. It sounded easy, but it wasn't. The first morning his alarm rang and his brain immediately invented excuses. It's cold. I'll start tomorrow. I slept late. One more hour. But then he remembered that picture of Zain and the promise he wrote in his notebook. He forced himself out of bed, half asleep, half annoyed, but proud that he did it. He expected some magical transformation on day 1, but of course nothing happened. He was tired, groggy and cranky, but at night, when he checked the small box in his notebook, labeled Wake Up at 6 a.m., a strange happiness rushed through him. A tiny victory. A weak but important domino had fallen. Day 10, resistance. For the next several days, Arin kept waking up early. It was easier some mornings, terrible on others, but he didn't miss a single day. Then came day 10. That morning, the sky was dark, the rain was loud, and his alarm felt like torture. Arin glared at the clock with one thought. Skipping one day won't matter. He turned off the alarm. But before he could go back to sleep, something unexpected happened. His phone lit up. A message from Zain. Hey bro, saw your comment on my post. If you're working on something, keep going. The hardest days are the sign you're growing. Arin sat upright. It felt almost supernatural. How did the message come at the exact moment he was about to give up? He forced himself out of bed. That day taught him his first big lesson. Self-discipline is strongest when your motivation is weakest. Day 30, the wall. By the end of the first month, Arin had added 2 more habits. Read 10 pages daily. Exercise for 15 minutes. He wasn't perfect. Some days he didn't exercise. Some days he read only 5 pages. But he was moving slowly, imperfectly, consistently, until day 30. This was the day he almost quit everything. Arin came home exhausted from school, his head heavy with stress, his mood low. He stared at his notebook with irritation. Why am I doing this? What is the point? What am I even trying to become? His brain started whispering those familiar words. You've never been disciplined. Just accept it. This isn't you. He fell onto the couch, ready to give up, but then his eyes drifted to the calendar on the wall. It showed a long chain of check marks, 30 little symbols of effort. For the first time, Arin realized something. He had never stayed consistent for 30 days before, not in anything. That chain of marks was proof that he was changing, even if slowly. He stood up, picked up his book and read his 10 pages. Then he stretched and did a short exercise. The actions were small, but the decision was big. That night he wrote in his notebook, discipline is not about being strong. It's about not breaking the chain. Day 45, the temptation. Around the halfway mark, something else happened. Arin started seeing progress. He wasn't a new person yet, but mornings felt easier. His mind felt clearer. He began understanding his textbooks better. Even his friends noticed the change. He seemed more focused, more confident. But success has a strange side effect. Temptation. One evening, his cousins came over and invited him to an all-night gaming marathon. It sounded exciting. Aaron loved gaming, and he hadn't played in a long time. A voice in his mind whispered, "You deserve a break." But the problem wasn't gaming. The problem was that staying up all night would mean waking up late the next morning, and breaking his streak. After a long internal war, Aaron finally said, "I'll join, but only for an hour." His cousins laughed. "Dude, what happened to you? Since when are you so disciplined?" Aaron smiled. "Since I decided I want to respect my own promises." He played for 1 hour, enjoyed it, and then stopped. It was the first time he realized that self-discipline wasn't about avoiding pleasure, it was about controlling it. That night he slept on time and woke up at 6 a.m. again. He empowered himself. Day 60, the challenge. 2 months in, Aaron wanted to test himself. He created a new challenge. No sugar for 7 days. For someone who loved chocolate, this was torture. But Aaron wanted to prove that he could control his cravings too. The first 3 days were painful. Every time he opened the fridge, chocolates looked like they were calling his name. But he resisted. On day 4, something interesting happened. His desire became weaker. His mind felt stronger. By day 7, he completed the challenge. He didn't celebrate with chocolate. He didn't even crave it anymore. Instead, he celebrated with a smile in the mirror. He was becoming the kind of person who could set a rule and follow it. Day 75, the breakthrough. One morning while jogging in the park, Aaron passed by a man practicing guitar under a gazebo. The music was beautiful, full of emotion. Aaron stopped to listen. When the man finished, Aaron complimented him. The guitar player laughed. "You should have heard me 2 years ago. I was terrible, but I practiced every day. Some days 5 minutes, some days 2 hours, but every day." Aaron smiled. "I'm trying to build that habit too." The man nodded wisely. People overestimate intensity and underestimate consistency. If you show up daily, life opens doors for you. That sentence stayed with Aaron all day. Show up daily, and life opens doors. It was the exact description of what had been happening to him. Slowly the world was opening for him. Not magically, but because he was showing up. Day 90, the transformation. The 90 days were complete. Aaron woke up exactly at 6 a.m. on the final day, without an alarm. He went through his routine calmly and confidently. No resistance, no frustration, just flow. He opened his notebook and flipped back through the pages. 90 wake-ups, 90 reading sessions, dozens of workouts, a sugar challenge, fewer excuses, more strength, more clarity, more control. He realized something powerful. Self-discipline wasn't something he was born with. It was something he had built. It wasn't perfect. He still had weaknesses. He still had lazy days. He still struggled sometimes. But he had become someone who could keep promises to himself. And that changed everything. The real test. 2 days later, something surprising happened. Zayn visited him. "I wanted to see how you're doing," Zayn said, smiling. Aaron felt a little shy but excited. He showed Zayn his notebook, the check marks, the habits, the challenges. Zayn studied it carefully and said, "This is amazing. But remember, the real test isn't the 90 days, it's what you do after." Aaron knew he was right. Self-discipline wasn't a project. It wasn't a challenge. It wasn't a phase. It was a lifestyle. That night, Aaron wrote one final message to himself. "This is not the end. This is who I am now." 1 year later, a year passed. Aaron had not become perfect, but he had become astonishingly consistent. He had added several new habits: daily journaling, studying for 1 hour, running every weekend, constant skill improvement. He wasn't just building habits, he was building himself. And what shocked him the most was how much his life had changed, simply because he became disciplined. Prom and his grades improved dramatically. He became more respected by teachers and friends. His confidence grew. His body became fitter. His mind became calmer and sharper. Opportunities began to appear. Tutoring, competitions, events. People asked him how he managed to transform so much. Aaron always gave the same answer. Aaron's story isn't about superhuman ability or talent. He wasn't naturally disciplined. In fact, he started as the opposite, someone who quit easily. But he changed. Not by doing huge things. Not by being perfect. Not by pushing himself too hard. He changed by doing one small thing. He kept showing up. Every day. Self-discipline is not a gift. It's not magic. It's not something only successful people have. It is something anyone can build. The secret is simple. Start small. Don't break the chain. Control your temptations. Celebrate small victories. Don't wait for motivation. Choose progress over perfection. Keep going, even when it's hard. Aaron's story teaches one profound truth. If you want, I can also write a speech based on this story, a moral of the story paragraph. Just tell me,